We usually treat the passport as our ticket to global mobility, a physical guarantee that we are permitted to explore the planet. It is an object so common that we rarely stop to ask why it exists in the first place. Governments developed the passport system to restrict and track human movement. It regulates who is allowed to cross a line on a map. In the late 19th century, the expansion of steamships and railways allowed people to move further and faster than at any point in history. For a brief window, this movement was almost entirely unregulated. Millions of people migrated across oceans and continents during this era. They arrived in foreign lands without standardized identity booklets or government permission, carrying their lives in wooden crates rather than digital databases. Before the 20th century, the world was functionally borderless because the state simply lacked the technology to keep up with the speed of modern travel. While ancient travel papers did exist, they were rare privileges for the elite. In 450 BCE, King Artaxerxes gave his cupbearer a letter asking regional governors for safe passage. Rome issued bronze plates to its military veterans. These were protective honors for a few, not requirements for the many. By 1414, King Henry V of England began issuing safe conduct documents to protect his subjects in foreign lands. This requirement to show papers when passing through a city's gates, or ports in French, is where we get the term passport. The modern use of these documents began during the French Revolution. To identify suspected counter-revolutionaries, the new government required citizens to carry internal papers to move between their own cities. For centuries, a travel document was a monarch's promise of protection. That changed as the modern state realized that tying an identity to a piece of paper allowed them to monitor their own population. The outbreak of World War I in 1914 ended the borderless reality of the industrial age. As the conflict began, the trust required for globalized trade and travel evaporated. Panicked by the threat of foreign spies and military deserters, nations across Europe abruptly militarized their borders. They needed a way to verify exactly who was entering or leaving their territory. The solution was a bureaucratic innovation, the mandatory photograph. By attaching a human face to a specific set of government papers, the state could finally claim ownership over an individual's identity. In 1920, the League of Nations held a conference in Paris to finalize these restrictions. Global leaders agreed to standardize travel documents into the uniform, recognizable booklet we carry today. The modern passport system was a temporary wartime security measure, but after the war ended, governments found the system too useful to relinquish. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union used the passport as a primary tool of confinement. Citizens were governed by internal documents, and leaving the country required an exit visa that the state could deny for any reason. Apartheid South Africa utilized this system for total social control. Black citizens were legally required to carry passbooks that determined where they could live and work, turning a travel document into a daily instrument of racial segregation. Following the events of September 11th, the system evolved again. Governments introduced the biometric e-passport, which uses an embedded RFID chip to store a digital copy of your face and fingerprints. Modern border control now relies on algorithms to scan and clear a human face in milliseconds. The human agent has been replaced by a database. The passport has completed its transformation. What began as a paper voucher is now a global, automated tracking system. This chart, based on the Henley Passport Index, shows that the current system creates a massive disparity in human mobility. Freedom of movement is now a measurable, mathematical inequality. At the top of this ranking, global borders are almost entirely theoretical. Citizens with a passport from Japan or Singapore can enter roughly 190 countries without seeking prior permission from a foreign government. At the bottom of the index, the world is effectively closed. An Afghan passport grants access to fewer than 30 nations, meaning the majority of the planet is inaccessible without a difficult and often impossible visa process. The most restricted are the 10 million stateless people worldwide. Without a document to verify their identity, they possess no legal right to move between nations at all. Two people born on the same planet are granted entirely different levels of freedom based solely on the color of the booklet issued by their government. Your passport is not a symbol of your right to travel. It is a reminder that your freedom of movement is a state-owned resource, lent back to you one border crossing at a time.